Hello everyone, welcome to Eastwood Cottage Garden. My name is Tracy and I invite you to join me in my video diary as I document the good, the bad, the great, and the who knows of my Zone 7B Southeast Pennsylvania urban gardens. Today I'm going to share with you a garden tour that I took a couple of days ago as the snow was melting in our recent 7-inch snowstorm, which was the first measurable snow that we've had in this area in almost 3 years. Here we are in the front corner of my garden with the forsythia that is absolutely massive. It is going to be thinned out this year. I might sacrifice some flowers, but that's okay. And you can see down the side of my property, and this is where I have like a long border that I want to develop that goes facing towards a 400 square foot fenced in garden that used to be a vegetable patch, but it got too much for me to do. So I changed it to mostly a perennial patch. And here on the outside of the front of that, I have a small border of mostly evergreens with, I have some dianthus, which I absolutely love dianthus. There's a liriope, there's some candy tuft. I have some hellebores and some heuchera. As you can see here, the hellebores are starting to bloom. I'm very excited about that. I just planted them last year and they're doing great. And the heuchera, there's two plants there. One of them was planted last year. The one was planted the year before. Here is a dwarf juniper. And on the inside of the garden, inside of the fence garden, here I have an herb patch, which is kind of the only remaining thing from the vegetable garden. We'll come back around to that later. Here is a thuja pancake. I actually have 3 of them in the garden altogether. Here's more dianthus. And let me tell you, when I was doing this garden tour, taking the pictures, I could actually smell the dianthus in the air because it's still trying to bud, even though it's January. There's several different kinds of dianthus in this area. There's probably about 7 plants of dianthus and varieties there. There's some agastache there that has gone down for the winter, of course. There's some iris. I have some Ansonia Blue Star in there, a bunch of daisies, Shasta daisies. There is some pincushion flower. Over here, you can hardly see it through there. This little teeny thing, it's really skinny. It's the rose that was my grandmother's. So I'm going to cut it back hard next year, this coming season, to see if it can flush back and be full. So here are the pots I have in my garden that I usually put what vegetables I do grow. I usually do peppers and tomatoes in them. And if you can see on the ground there, this pot did not do so well. I decided this year to put some violas and pansies in the pots to see what they would do. This is my first time doing that, but that pot with the winter weather did not do so well. Anyway, we have to get another one of those. There is my little toad house there, and I have some penstemon here. There's some phlox here. Right there, the little shaggy thing in the middle there is a whipcord arborvitae. I thought that was really cute. Here are some remaining of the black-eyed Susans. I leave the seed heads up in the winter for the birds to have a little snack on. Right here, this is, it's a knockout rose. And it's very, very big. I cut it back really hard every year, and it just keeps coming back with a vengeance. It has some really pretty rose hips on there, so I leave up there for the birds. We're walking around there. There's a little dog statue there. I have my abelia. It's a kaleidoscope abelia that this year absolutely took off. This was definitely its 3rd year of growth, and it just went off like gangbusters. And in this pot, I usually do annuals in here, and then here, usually it's empty for the winter, but I put some violas and pansies in there this year. I'm probably going to do more next year. There is ivy on the ground, but I do keep it trimmed back, and the property behind me, it gets trimmed back through the fence. Here is a little lime hydrangea. It's my first hydrangea ever. I put it inside because I do have deer that do come in the yard sometimes, even though I'm in an urban lot. They do show up. This is another shot of the whipcord arborvitae. I think it's so cute. Here's some stepping stones, and there's another Knockout Roses is much smaller, so I'm going to cut both of them back really hard and see what they do. We're coming back to around the back of the garden, and here's the herb patch. I have some lemon balm in here. I have somewhere in here is some tarragon, and the sticks you see there is what's the remainder of my garlic chives. And here's some sage and more lavender. Well, then the biggest lavender that I have. And I'm just spinning around in here so you can see kind of the dryness of the center of the garden. During the season, it is very lush with a lot of plants and color and activity there. So we're stepping around again, and I had to come back here because I was smelling this dianthus all the way through the garden. And look at that, the buds. Oh my gosh. I can't even believe it. End of January, and it's budding. It's craziness. Absolute craziness. So walking along the back side of the garden, I tried to grow some sweet woodruff that never really took off. There are some tiger lilies that were actually from when my grandmother was here that have been moved, and here are some hellebores. So I think I'm going to put a lot more hellebores in the back on that line because they seem to be doing really well. And here is my pride and joy. This is my ornamental cherry tree that is absolutely gorgeous in spring, and I will be sharing those pictures with you, a video of that when it starts blooming in its glory. It's massive. And underneath here, it's underplanted with a whole bunch of daffodils. I actually planted a whole bunch more, but you can see as I'm zooming in here, they are starting to show their little faces. They just popped out. I knew I had one patch that had come out, but the others kind of showed up after the snow went away. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And here's the patch that was originally there before it snowed, and the others showed up while it was snowing. And we're walking back through here. This is my woodland garden area. I have probably about 9 ferns. 2 of them are evergreen, and they show up. And I have these. I do believe this is some kind of privet. It was planted by my grandparents, and then it was moved from the side yard, and we moved it to the back. It kind of hides that container that's back there that belongs to the property next door, which is good. Here is a heuchera. It's like cappuccino, I think, and I planted that last year. And look down there, right there was some yellow, what's it? Yellow, oh, I can't remember. Oh, there's more hellebores, but it was primrose. Yes, it was primrose. There's another one. There's yellow primrose. And I planted a bunch of daffodil bulbs in here and a woodland bulb mix. So I'm trying to do some kind of a bulb lawn, but look at my little hellebore trying to show his little face. I love it. So I'm thinking about putting a mirror in this back corner here, kind of to make it like a focal point you could see it from the house. Here is my poor shed. My grandfather built this. It has seen better days, but it has been true, very true this whole time. I am planning to get a new shed, and I do have a family of squirrels that live inside it, so I have to figure out some kind of squirrel house so that they can't live in the new shed, but we'll have a place to be. And moving across the yard, I have, we're going to be showing the orchard area, and I planted some strawberries. These actually did pretty well for the first year. It was consistent. They were really tiny, but they were super, super sweet. So hopefully they will do more next year. I'm kind of showing you the ground. Oh, this is my plum tree that I planted last year on my birthday, and we got a really cold snap like right after that, and the whole top of it died. So, but it's coming back. You can see a lot of the side shoots. It's still alive and it's doing well. But it was kind of a shame. I was a little panicked at first that it wasn't going to make it, but it seems to be going to make it. Here are some blackberries that I moved out of the fenced garden into some containers. We'll see what they do. And this is actually a volunteer raspberry we have wild raspberries that just show up, and here is one of them. I had to put this crazy looking orange thing on there so the person that cuts my grass wouldn't chop it down. So I'm going to make a better trellis area for it this coming season. And here's my peach tree that I'm going to have to cut that limb off because it's way too big for the tree to support. It had so many peaches on it this year. Is it like the fifth year that it's been in, fourth year that it's been in, and it had so many peaches, and it was wonderful. And those little squirrels, I thinned it all out, and they ate every one of them. I got no peaches. This is my newest flower bed. I have some wonderful plants that are going to be going in there that I will be sharing with you. An evergreen shrub and some other evergreen perennials that are going in there. And I have at the moment, five crepe myrtles that have grown very, very tall in the past 4 years. They've done very, very well. I love to use their seed heads in dried flower arrangements. And I'm going to be coming in and clearing them out so that they can have the true crepe myrtle form. Here, here is my mock orange that sorry for the fast movement, that I have threatened. I have 5 of them, and they have not been growing like they should. See, this year I cut it all the way back, and this time it decided to get its act together, and now it's taller than I am. I'm about 5'3", so this thing is about 5'4" now. It's finally over the fence. So we'll see what happens when it leaves out in the spring. I'm hoping for good things. Most of them have done well. This one is the star, though. It's done the best. And that twiggy looking thing in the back there, I thought it was a weed with the little spikes. It's actually a goji berry plant. I'm so excited when I figured out what it was. Here is a flower bed at the back of my deck. This is a new flower bed for the year. I did this with the no-dig method, and I've planted it up with perennials and some evergreen things, and it's doing really, really well. And here you're going to see the little monster. That is Riley. That's my little puppy dog, Riley. He's about 12 years old. I love him to pieces. He's a pain in the neck, but I love him to pieces. So I had to put the hairpin fences there so he wouldn't get his tether tied up in the stones for the flower bed. But here's the other side of the other matching flower bed on the deck, and look at this. Isn't this true, everybody? I know this is true. You know it. It's not hoarding if it's plants. So true. Anyway, yes, never hoarding if it's plants. Moving to where are we? This is my front flower bed, my front border. I intend to revamp this whole thing and make it a whole lot bigger. I want to actually make it this directly in front of my front pane window into like a real cottage garden, to have it be whimsical and have a little path going through, because there's a maple tree there, and these are actually some heuchera that I have around the base of a red maple tree that have come out very, very well. They're very beautiful. I think that the red is paprika, and the red and the green is Delta Dawn. I believe that's what they're called, but they're very, very beautiful, and they have white flowers on them, and they did very, very well this year. Around the back of the maple tree, I also planted some daffodil bulbs, so they should be coming up this year. And here, this is a phlox that is really leafed out this year. After the flowers went away, it starts to leaf out, so I'm excited to see what it's going to do this year. So this year, this flower bed primarily has a ground cover of vinca on there. And there's some hellebores in here that I might eventually have to move, because there was a giant oak tree in the next door property that got taken down. So now it's a sun area, not a shade area. And you can see the vinca is starting to bloom, and actually never stopped blooming. It's absolutely crazy. The weather's so crazy here. This is a geum. It's called Tangerine, Totally Tangerine. It didn't bloom last year because I put them in pretty late in the season, so hopefully it'll bloom this year. I'm looking forward to that. There's some coneflowers in here that are very beautiful. I can't wait. One, I haven't seen the flowers on it because I planted that late in the season. And here again, the vinca's showing its show, doing its thing in January. So bizarre. I do have some weeding I need to do in there. But this is Muscari right there on the stringy looking plant. And you can see I'm pointing to it. It is budding. That is madness. Absolute madness. Anyway, more hellebores coming in there. I do have some red twig dogwoods in here as well. So I kind of did a repeat pattern of things. So I have the geums, I have the phlox, there's more phlox, I have the red twig dogwoods. There's actually three peonies in there, but they probably won't do anything for a few years. Here are some black and black sedum that I just planted, so it's kind of small. There's a red twig dogwood. That just got planted so it's kind of small too. So this is kind of, the bed has been revamped since they cut the tree down to add some more sun-loving perennials in there. And then walking back on what I call the alley side, this flower bed is brand new for last year. So in here, I have some sky pencil holly and some red twig dogwood that I'm kind of trying to use as like a screen for the, for the neighbors next door. But this is a wind tunnel area, terrible wind tunnel. So I can't put anything super, super solid. I can't put any kind of solid fencing or anything because it will just blow down and be totally not worth it. This is wormwood, Artemisia wormwood, that I'm not too happy with. I think it's too wet where it is, and it didn't do very well. There's more red twig dogwood and dianthus, because I love dianthus. I think I said that. And anyway, and there's, what I have in there? Salvias in here that did absolutely well, super, super well this year. More dianthus. And this is a popcorn rose, a dwarf popcorn rose, super cute. That got planted this year. Can't wait to see what that's going to do this year. This is more of the sky pencil holly. So they're kind of like alternate 2 sky pencil hollies and then a red twig dogwood. Here is some yarrow. It's very, very beautiful. Coronation. It's the color I think it is. It's a yellow, very, very bright yellow. And here's this salvia. I didn't cut it back yet because it was still blooming into December. It was absolutely crazy. I will be cutting it back soon. I also have some Japanese anemone in here. Here's a solid liriope. Right there, this spiky looking thing there, that is a sunjoy barberry. And they are supposed to be non-invasive, so I actually have 4 of them in the property. So there's 2 in this bed and then 2 in my front bed. And there's another sunjoy barberry. Here's a trio of lavender. Like this one is kind of struggling a little bit. I had to actually replant another one. So this one right there is new because the other one died. So we'll see. I don't know if it might be too wet in this area for it. But I also have some columbine in here that just got planted. Everything just got planted last year. So it was beautiful. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. I hope you enjoyed the end of January post-snow tour of the garden. Please consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content of the adventures inside and outside of the garden. Take care and see you soon. This is Riley.